So, dear friends, in this video we will try to answer the many questions of yours about what Markalinism is like. That is what a universal progressive religion of the third millennium is. The religion, the birth of which I announced on the 19th of December last year. We understand that it is hardly possible to limit ourselves to one video here, but we can sort out some basic fundamental things right now. So, your questions. Why do we need another religion? Aren't the existing ones enough? Don't you want to turn everyone into sheep again? So you see, a human being has an inborn desire to improve their life. Just as you ask me, why do we need another religion? I can ask you, why do you need another car? Isn't the old one enough? Why are you changing your Renault to a Toyota? Why are you changing a one-room apartment to a two-room one? You can still go on living in a one-room apartment. Why do you need caviar on your morning sandwich when you can, in the old-fashioned way, just smear butter and put a thin piece of cheese? It is definitely cheaper than caviar. Why are you watching this video? It is also something new. You could watch something you are used to watching, but you are watching this one. Aren't the existing religions enough? My answer is unequivocal. Not enough. It is not enough for the simple reason that the existing religions are not able to qualitatively improve either the nature of man or his standard of living. Most importantly, they are unable to give a person normal, adequate answers to the basic questions of life itself. The greatest philosophers, thinkers, religious innovators, and researchers saw evil and limitation in the existing religions. They saw that their goal was not to improve human nature and his life, but to enslave him, parasitize him, and oppress him. That is, their goal was to create a life full of misery, dependence, and limitation for a person. And do you really want to say that these religions are enough? Enough for what? To make a person unhappy and limited? Then yes, it's really enough. But Markalinism is a religion whose goal is the deification of man, not the transformation of man into a slave of God or an acolyte of the priestly class, but becoming like the object of his own worship, according to the ancient principle: what you look at is what you turn into. Let's face it. Have the existing religions made men wise, happy, and developed? For all the centuries and millennia of their existence, no. Most people are lazy, narrow-minded, and unhappy. They do not know why they are here, where they come from into this world, and where they go after their biological death. They do not know what the meaning of their life is, what a human being is and how he needs to live in order to develop comprehensively, without distortions and kinks, without harm to themselves, society, and the environment. People live in sleep and ignorance. Why is it happening if there are religions that must answer the fundamental questions of life and death? The answer suggests itself. People are not satisfied with the explanations of the religions. People feel that these explanations, these answers are sucked out of the palm of your hand. They have nothing to do with real life and therefore are unattainable. Actually, the number of people in temples is a direct indicator of the loss of even the meager remnants of a once existing faith in the existing religions. About sheep and shepherds. All this is Christian terminology. Markalinism has nothing to do with it. We don't treat our religious family members like sheep, rabbits, camels, or any other animals. We do not set ourselves the task of shepherding someone. We perceive the Markalinists as brothers and sisters on a common path of spiritual development, under the blessing of the goddess Kali and Mara, the goddesses of time, karma, life, death, and justice. So the second question. It is unclear for what purpose you combine different goddesses into one. Kali is a Hindu goddess, Mara is a Slavic goddess. How can they be one deity? Can't underwear and panties be the same? Can Georgiy, George, and George be the same person? Can beauty contain ugliness and wisdom hide stupidity? Based on the fundamental research, we came to the conclusion that the Hindu Kali and the Slavic Mara are the same person, as not only their appearances coincide, but also the functions performed by the goddesses. I have a video dedicated to the analysis of Slavic and Hindu gods. Take a look if you haven't seen it. Why am I combining Mara and Kali? Their images complement each other. The primordial goddess is seen better when Kali and Mara are superimposed on each other. In addition, I have repeatedly stressed that all Hindu gods are a borrowing from the ancient Slavic pantheon. Therefore, worshipping Kali, you worship Mara, and worshipping Mara, you worship Kali. It's all one, a single how. So, the next one. Are you serious? Markalinism sounds like Leninism, communism, Marxism, and so on. Why is this name? Can't it be replaced with another one? We are serious. It's good that the name of the new religion sounds close to those concepts that are historically close to the Russian people and to Europeans too. But why should we go far? Buddhism, Taoism, Judaism, These are all religions with ism. For some reason you have no complaints about the names of the religions, these religions. Yes, one could call it, for example, Markalianity, but it is so similar to Christianity, the most discredited religion in the world. Therefore, Markalinism is strong, understandable, and beautiful, and it is historically justified. Is it impossible without religion? Why is it needed at all when there is faith? Can't we just believe? This is a very good question, and it is necessary to clearly give a reasoned answer to it. It is impossible without religion. We can, but we can't. Why? Let's figure it out. Tell me, how do people know about Christianity and, most importantly, remember it? How do they know about Islam and remember it? No, not from the Bible or the Quran at all. This is secondary. Imagine for a moment that all Christian and Muslim temples have disappeared from the face of the earth, and along with them all their rituals, services, and ceremonies that are held in these temples on a regular basis. How long will people remember that there are such religions? Yes, 1 or 2 generations will remember. And then, what if these temples had never existed at all? I am 100% sure that now hardly anyone, apart from historians or religious scholars, would remember these 2 religions. You remember Jesus only because Christian churches constantly come across your eyes, and Allah because you regularly see mosques. The average person has a short memory, and he is more concerned with how to eat, drink, and earn money for his needs than to constantly keep faith in his head. If there were no temples, people would have nowhere to perform religious rites. Yes, you can do it at home, but at home you become reluctant. The atmosphere is not the same. It is like doing sports at home. Try to exercise at home on a regular basis, and withstanding the load and the number of approaches. Almost everyone will fail. It is much easier to do this with a coach in the gym. Well, or without a coach, but in the gym, surrounded by people like you with appropriate music and in a special atmosphere for this, isn't it? Religion is a repetition, the repetition of a certain practice in order to restore the severed connection between man and God. Religion is a certain culture that has a certain higher purpose. Just as in bodybuilding the goal is to create a perfect physical body, so in religion the goal is to create in this body a developed soul that could communicate with God and become like God. Now imagine, there is no temple servants, no services, no rituals, no holidays, no opportunity to meet like-minded people on a regular basis. There is only a certain holy book, and that's it. How many people will be able to keep the faith? How many people will be able to develop in such a religion and strengthen their faith? The answer is obvious. Only a few. But what about the hundreds, thousands, and millions of those who are not organized enough to do everything themselves at home? Do you understand now why an organized religion is needed? In addition, any faith must have a constant supply, a source of energy. Think about it. And here we smoothly move on to another very important issue. So, how do you plan to organize Markalinism? What will the new spiritual organization be like? Markalinism is the religion of the Mother of Light, who in our age of sin is seen as black, and who controls time, fate, and death. She manages karma, that is, she is responsible for observing the law of justice. The new spiritual organization will represent a community of believers who will be able to gather in their temples to conduct joint services and rituals on the basis of their faith in the Great Kali and the Great Mara, as well as those spiritual instructions that the Great Mother deigns to convey to them through me, her son, as well as through those chosen souls who came to the planet precisely for the realization of this goal. The establishment and development of the religion of the third millennium, Markalinism. Our goal is to create a new type of man, not a Homo sapiens, as it is now, but a spiritualized divine person in whom the mind would function on the basis of developed spirituality. That is, a person free from sin and limitation. The goddess is understood by us as the supreme teacher and mentor on this path. Centers of harmonious human development should be created next to Kali and Mara temples. These are whole modern complexes, which will include hotels, lecture halls, and gyms, places for yoga, meditation, and martial arts. Someone will want to stay here and live in a community of like-minded people all the time. We will create a center where people can share spiritual experience and jointly help each other in spiritual growth. It will be possible to invite teachers and masters of various fields of knowledge to teach, give workshops, conduct trainings, and so on. In the future, it should be an international network of spiritual development based on faith in the Great Mother Goddess. The next question. I am a Christian. I can't abandon my faith because I consider it a betrayal. At the same time, I am attracted by the truth that I hear in your words, as well as the figure of Mother Kali. I do not want to live in a split What should I do? That's also a good question. You don't have to live in a split, and you don't have to commit betrayal. All this must be solved calmly and intelligently. Markalinism does not contradict any existing religion, does not fight against them, and does not try to replace them. If they exist, then someone needs it for now. Do you remember these verses? If the stars are lit, then someone needs it. The uniqueness of Markalinism is that, like Everest, it rises above all mountain peaks, but at the same time it does not quarrel with anyone. What do I mean by that? Just as a woman becomes a mother by giving birth, so the great Mother Goddess creates all gods and people. Without the mother, the male deities of all known religions would not be able to appear. Why? Because it contradicts nature itself, its laws. Gods, as you know, obey the laws in the same way as people. And unlike people, they do not break the laws. Whatever the canons of your religion tell you, you must first of all use common sense. Common sense. A man can't give birth to a man. It's simple. Very simple. However, look, hundreds of millions of people believe that this is possible. I will not name this religion. I think it's clear what religion we are talking about. Why have they come up with this idea to impose male management on society, to follow the power path of development, ignoring the feminine principle? The result is wars, competition, the struggle for resources, and incessant greed. Therefore, if humanity wants to survive and start living in a different way, a harmonious life, and not in constant exhaustion in a state of survival and struggle, it's necessary to return the cult of reverence for the Mother Goddess, which we are doing, as they say here and now. We need high feminine energies that will make a person not only kinder, but also more reasonable. Nowadays, people can be called relatively intelligent. It is a hybrid, I mean a human being is a hybrid between an animal and a human. A hybrid not in terms of biology, but in terms of the psyche. That is, we understand that a reasonable person will not create his own prosperity at the expense of other people's misfortune. This is unwise, as such a person creates bad karma for himself and then has to pay the bills. If he were intelligent, he would develop himself and strive to achieve his life goals based on knowledge and skills, and not on lies, cunning, deceit, fraud, and similar methods used by weaklings. Doing good, you get good. Question: why is not everyone aware of this? If they realize, then why don't they apply? Returning to your question, if you are a Christian and you do not want to give up your religion. You can continue to be a Christian while worshipping Mother Mara and Mother Kali, but you must be a Christian and not play Christianity. What does it mean? This means that you need to be like Christ. You know how Christ lived, right? He was penniless. He lived without having a place to lay his head. He sought the good and reasonable in people with all his might. That is, he was the embodiment of love for people. It's stupid to just pray to him, be baptized and perform rituals. To be a Christian, you need to follow Christ. Remember the first Christians. What was their faith like? They entered the campfire and did not burn. And they were fed to the animals, and the animals knelt in front of them. And they were thrown into boiling water, but they didn't care. Do you remember? Can you do the same now? What has happened to your faith if you can't? Why is there not enough faith in you? Christ does not need your prayers and rituals. He came to show what a person should and can be with proper development. He called you to become like him, but you began to pray him. What for? This is so unreasonable. Therefore, we are only glad if you honor Christ, Buddha, Allah, and his prophet Muhammad, Vishnu, Shiva, and all their ilk. We just say, they are all children of our Great Mother. They are our elder brothers. They are not our competitors, not our enemies, but brothers, mentors, and teachers. Markalinism gives you what the forces working against humanity once took away from people. We give you the cult of reverence for the Mother Goddess, and if you add reverence for the Mother to your traditional beliefs, you will enrich yourself immensely. Can you tell me what you believe in? Do you have a creed like Christians? Yes, we have, of course, a symbol of faith. Here it is. I believe in the single great Mother Goddess who created gods and people, the universe with all the flora and fauna available in it, all visible and invisible worlds and dimensions of reality and their inhabitants. I believe in Mahamara and Mahakali, in the great goddess Mara and in the great goddess Kali, as the great Mother Goddess. Mahamara and Mahakali are identical to each other, form one whole, and perform the same functions. I believe that all the female deities of religions, religious movements, and cults known to the world are different hypostases of the great Mother Goddess, who is one in essence but multiple in persons. I believe in the ultimate triumph of the light of knowledge over the darkness of ignorance, in the triumph of justice, truth, and love, whose victory is guaranteed by Mahamara and Mahakali. I believe in the supreme destiny of man. It consists in achieving divinity, merging with the Mother Goddess, and qualitatively transforming society based on developed spirituality, knowledge, and selfless service. This is our symbol of faith. How can I become a member of your religious organization? At the moment, we are still at the beginning of the path of building such an organization. But you can already apply for membership by first reading on our website www.grankord.su with the postulates of our faith in the section Markalinism, once again by reading and thinking about the creed in the appropriate section. You go to the Join section, fill out an application form and send it to us. As soon as Markalinism is officially registered, you will receive a notification from us about the activation of your status as a member of our religious organization. In addition, your application will be an occasion for us to invite you to the Constituent Assembly and even perhaps to accept you into the executive bodies of the newly created organization. Therefore, there is no need to delay here. If you feel that this is yours, then you need to fill out an application form and wait for further information from us. I hope that with today's video message we have answered many of the questions that were in your heart. You can participate in the donation for the construction of the Temple of the Great Mother Goddess, as well as in helping our channel and the project to return the long lost. All necessary details and links are attached in the description of the video. See you soon.